Hello, good evening. Thank you all for joining in. We'll wait for another 1 to 2 minutes so that all the participants join in, and post that we'll just start our session. But a good evening. I think I see a lot of good evening coming in the comments from Banaras. Please put in from where you're joining today's session. We would love to know about that. Oh, we have people joining from Punjab, from Oman, Maharashtra. Good evening to all of you. we it's still incoming. It's like Meghalaya, Telangana, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Sikkim. This is so great. All right, it's 5:02 and we will initiate our session now. Thank you all for taking your time out and joining this session. We have a great content prepared today. I know it's holiday for most of you, so still taking your time out and joining in. Today's session is very exciting. It's taken by someone who is closely associated with CENTA as well. And you know, CENTALKS, which is led by global facilitators, take care of all the happening topics for teacher professional development as well as the ongoing trends in the teaching field. And we are glad to have you on board with us. And on behalf of CENTA, we are delighted that you all are here for this session. Today, the session topic is the power of asking question and why it matters. Such a powerful topic, and it is presented by today's facilitator, Deepali Thakur. Hi, Deepali. Hello, Deepali.
Hi, good evening, everyone.
Great to have you back here. Deepali has been associated with Center for very long. She has taken multiple sessions, so she's not a new face over here. And if you are new person joining this Centalk session, I would like to give you a brief introduction about Deepali. And many of you who already know, that's great. So Deepali, Ms. Deepali Thakur, she's founder of Ashi Forest School and Ashi Learning Space. She is a school leader by all means. She's innovative. Her innovative initiatives that blend nature, neuroscience, and nurturing care to transform education. With over 14 years of experience, she has worked as a teacher, as a mentor, trainer, consultant with institutions like DPS and also with CENTA. For the past few years, she has guided educators across India toward more holistic, child led approaches. Ashi Forest School, inspired by Reggio Emilia and Indian values, offers nature based learning ages for 2 to 9. If you are someone who are interested in this field, you should check out Deepali's LinkedIn page, the work she does, the effort she puts in to bring out those happy faces in children and in parents. Ashi Learning Space extends this vision through community workshops and retreats. Ms. Deepali champions joyful, meaningful, and deeply human learning. And I completely recommend, checking out her profile and the work she does. Over to you, Deepali.
Thank you so much, Rasog. It's been a pleasure always being here with Center. So happy evening, everyone. I hope you all are doing good. So, how's the energy today? I just saw some chats that it's 44 degrees and it's 25 degrees. How are you guys placed? And of course, can you hear us? All right, I'm going to wait for 30 seconds for some good messages. We are feeling great, lovely, perfect. So, sound check done, field check done, lovely. Great. So, on behalf of Center and on behalf of all the educators present everywhere, I welcome you all to this lovely webinar and an interactive session. The power of asking right questions and why it matters to even ask questions. Okay, so if you've attended my sessions, then you know, and if you've not, then this is for you. We love to have a lot of energy in our sessions, so let's keep it interactive. Pause, reflect, ask questions. No questions are right or wrong, all questions are welcomed. So, let's get started. So today is not just a webinar, it's a chance to reboot our teaching lenses. So we are actually going to fix our lens because questions, my friends, they are not just tools to get answers. They are the ignition switch for every learner's brain. So we are going to unlock curiosity and ignite learning together. Yeah? Great. So when I was researching about this topic, and when we research, we need. Oh, we're gonna park all the questions, Aarti. Thanks. So we're gonna have a Q&A sessions towards the end, and of course, please keep putting your questions through. Seta would be the team would be parking all these questions, and we'll definitely answer each one of them. So as I was saying, all this webinar that we are having, the entire content is based on research, science, and facts. It's not just a conversational statement that we are doing. Okay? So, Albert Einstein said that anybody can ask questions, but only a genius can ask good questions. So, are we ready here today to become those geniuses of our classroom so that we can ask right, good quality questions to our kids so that they become the genius and ask good questions to themselves? So, if you all are with me, let us write questions or just type a Q in the chat box. All right, I'm gonna wait. Okay, I'm also checking the messages. Okay, the chat box. Thank you. Yes, we are ready. I'm getting some responses. Lovely. Yay, I love the energy in the chat box. Great. So, right questions, they are like the Swiss Army knife. You know that sharp knife that we carry? Think of a great question like a Swiss Army knife. It has a lot of functions, it's multifunctional, it's versatile, and it's sharp. It sparks engagement, turns passive listeners into active explorers. Why listeners? Because active listening and good art of questioning, when combined together, creates deep conversations. Deep questions equals to deep conversations, deeper thinking. So it promotes deeper thinking from simple, hey, what did you do last evening? To, hey, why did you go to the movies last evening? Or how was the movie that you saw? So we're going to move from what questions to why and how questions. Lovely, I'm loving the energy. And of course, what does questions do? It assess understanding and fosters inclusion, giving every child a voice. A voice even for the quietest ones. So when we master the art of questioning, we empower every child to say, hey, I can think too. So questions are not only made for those genius kids. But questions are made for all kids because no kid is different, unique, higher capability or lower capability kid. A kid is a kid. And when we want to include everyone, we need to master the kind of questions to understand, hey, that kid needs this kind of question. Because sometimes all they need is a nudge, a push, and then they bloom into their maximum potential. Factual to conceptual, yes, we're going to work. We're going to work into it. So, the science, when I was talking about the science, the research, these are the main three researchers who have researched a lot on curiosity. Now, let's zoom out a bit, okay? If you think about a question, where does a question come from? A question comes from a thought. And why do we think a thought? Because it comes from a wonder. I wonder how does it feel to float in space? So I'm wondering how it would actually be, and then that converts into a thought, and that converts into a question. So what I'm trying to do here is to push you all to understand from where a question actually emerges. Exactly, Randirji. Why is more important than what and when? So King in 1990, he said that peer questioning boosts comprehension and deeper learning. So the think pair share that we actually use in our class, so that comes from this king in 1990. He had a great research, and there was Marzano in 2007. He had affecting questioning links directly to improve student achievement. The more, so the kids, the little one of 3, 4, 5 years old, they really ask so many questions, and sometimes we get tired and be like, hey, you know what, just stop for some time. But what if we actually teach those kids to ask good questions? And here we have in 2008, Shin and Absorb. Student generated questions enhance engagement and understanding. So, all these questions fuel discovery and transform education. Great. So, we're going to pause here and I'm going to ask you a question right now. How are you feeling in the webinar right now? I'm going to take 30 seconds. Zoom out and tell me, how are you thinking in the webinar right now? How are you feeling in the webinar right now? These question methods, okay? You're feeling good? I'm feeling fantastic. Me too. All right, where's the energy? Good, curious, exciting, lovely. Excited. Great. Student ask more questions when they get answer. Yes, definitely. Okay, great, great. So I've got another question. And can team get the poll on the screen now? Here we have thank you. Are you happy? Are you happy right now? Are you happy? All right, so we've got 93%. Okay, yes, no, and then some of them, I don't know. All right, great. Thank you so much for being honest. So the reason I asked these two questions, so how are you feeling right now? You said good, great, excited. And how are you happy right now? I want you to zoom out and think about these two questions. Which made you think more? How are you feeling right now? Or are you happy? Which question made you think more? Yes, good, lovely, great. Are you happy? Both. Okay, okay. Are you happy? The feeling one. Excellent. How is better? Okay, the first one made me think more. Are you happy? So, basically, what happens is usually just because this how and how are you feeling right now, because we think how makes us think more, we believe, our brain believes how is an analytical thinking question too. But are you happy? It makes you actually think what are the things around me that are making me feel good, happy, elated, right? And how are you feeling right now in the webinar? It's an open ended, of course. So I'm loving the energy and responses because sometimes we take these open ended questions and analytical questions and we think that they're the same. These were very closely related to each other in the way we asked it, but they're not the same. So we're going to work together to understand. Here's our Bloom, the one that we use always, Bloom's taxonomy and questioning. We all know right now, and of course, Senta has taken so many sessions about Bloom's taxonomy and questioning. We've got lower level questioning techniques and higher level questioning techniques with the verbs. Now, this is a myth breaking point. Remembering understanding our lower levels, but also applying in factual and closed. So, closed, of course, is lower level, but application and factual are also lower level questions. There's a kind of a myth that is usually thought about that factual questions are higher level questions. That's why when we make question papers or when we are interacting with children, we use more of application or factual based questions. But my friends, my dear educators, it's not. And we are going to break that myth together today. Let's talk about higher level questions. Analyzing, evaluating, creating, analytical, and open ended. These are higher order level questions. So, under lower level, we've got like who, what, can you do it? And under higher level, we've got compare and contrast X and Y. Just why do you think what you think right now? And design a new solution. It's like, oh my God, I have to take a topic, I've got to understand the topic, I have to understand the different applications at different levels, understand what are the facts, elements to use it, and then create a new solution for it. Right? Amazing, amazing. We are going to dive deeper into this topic, and I'm going to go through all these things. So, now, what is the recipe of creating a powerful question? One is to have a right attitude, the right intent. Why are you even asking question? Is it just to know whether the kid knows it, knows the answer, or do you really want to dig deeper to understand the kids understanding about the topic? And it not only is limited to children, also it goes beyond the classroom. It goes in the conversations you have with the staff. It goes into the conversation that you have in your family and with your friends, because most of our conversation contains questions. Great, great. All right, 3 second break. Are you guys with me? We're going to now understand the recipe of making good, powerful questions. CFU is the check for understanding. Is it a lower level question or a higher level question? How about a closed higher order? Oh, I would love to have an example of that. Great. Are you all with me? Yes. Lovely. Lovely. So the recipe is to have clarity. Do not include big fancy words. Simple, clear language that you think the person you're asking the question to understand. Sometimes our vocabulary is different. My daily vocabulary might be different than yours, would be different than the child's. So when I'm asking the question, my intent is to get an answer from that person. But if the vocabulary that I use is not the vocabulary that the other person understands, then your goal of asking question falls off. So, asking direct, simplest language while framing your question is the key point because of different vocabulary levels of different people all around. Second is purpose, of course. Why are we asking? What are we asking? Do we need a yes no answer? Do we want them to funnel their thinking and come to a conclusion point? Are we trying to get the clarity in their mind? Are we trying to understand whether they have understood the topic or not? Why are we asking the question? Then only we can frame good questions to reach to the goal. It's the backward method. Avoid ambiguity. Unclear questions lead to poor or vague answers. What we ask does not match to what they answer. Boom. What happens? There's a collision. We think they're not understanding, they're not ready to answer. They think, like, what the hell is being asked? No. Avoid ambiguity. And of course, do not um, think that they know what we know. What I mean by this is a lot of times what happens is we have a prelude, we think that this certain topic is already, certain knowledge is already with them. We assume. So, assumption is very bad. And of course, replace what you think with how, X and Y. Okay, we're going to get to this, that replace. What about that thing? I mean, what is that thing? What does that thing means? How was that thing with you? I don't know what thing you're talking about. So we're going to cut down, okay, how does that X affect Y? How does the temperature, rising temperature affect your work quality? Okay, mother tongue to ask questions, amazing, of course. Because it's more important to understand the content rather than understanding the language. Language, most important work is to communicate, and if you communicate in your mother language, it's perfectly fine. Great, I'm loving the responses. Great, great, great going. Okay. So now we've got types of questions. What do you think are the different types of questions? Let's boom in the chat box and write all types of questions we think exists. Well, I've actually shown you all of them. Contextual one, lovely. MCQs, lovely Sonia ji. Divergent questions, short answer types, application based questions. Amazing, amazing. We're going to go in next 10 seconds. Open-ended, reference to text, close-ended, CBQs, reasons and assertions. Oh, they have become so important in English papers now. Right. Types of questions. Actually, I've got another idea right now, but let's see if we've got some time. We'll do this activity later. Open-ended. Okay. All right. So now we know what, how do we create a good question? We need to have clarity, we need to have purpose, like good vocabulary, purpose, and avoid foggy questions. Avoid foggy vocabulary. So I'm going to have a nice question for you. So, team, can we get the next poll on the screen? Do you think asking the right questions makes us powerful? Hearts open ended. Lovely, lovely. Do you think asking the right questions makes us powerful? Case based question. Okay. All right. I think we've got 97% of yes and 3% no. I would really love to know the ones who've said no. What is your opinion on this? Help us distribute power and become more powerful. Okay. So let's zoom in now. What are the different types of questions? Hots, of course, we saw that hots come into factual, hypothetical, um, analytical, and reflective. We've got closed and open ended questions, we've got convergent and divergent questions. It is so important to choose the right questions and at the right time. Sometimes we also need to think whether the child is ready to answer that question. Check for readiness before we ask the question is also important so that they do not lose their confidence. Do you agree with me? Just let me do that. So, of course, we've got closed question like, do you think this webinar is being useful? There's a 5 second lag. So, okay, yes, it's being useful, Radhika ji. Is it useful? Is this webinar useful? Great. Open ended question. What are your thoughts on what did you think about what was there in the webinar? What were you going to learn in the webinar? That would be an open ended question, right? Convergent question. It just converges to one answer. Now, sometimes we think convergent questions and close ended questions are the same, but they are not. 2 plus 2 will always be 4. That's a convergent question. I am going to push you to reach to that one final answer. That's a convergent question. But is this webinar good? Yes, no. We've got two options, and it then slams the conversation. It just shuts the conversation. Then there's divergent question. Of course, it's the questions that helps in brainstorming. And then factual, analytical, and reflective. We are going to go zoom in into it right now. Closed question. Closed question. Okay, so the best part that I've created for all of you is the structure in which there's a goal of why do we ask a question, this kind of question, how would be the structure of it, and best use. The reason being, I learned it initially when we learned about the questioning techniques. There's a prejudice that we make that closed questions are not good, only higher order questions are good. But that's not right. There are places where you have to ask closed questions. There are places where you have to ask convergent questions. So every type of questions is useful at certain place and time. So we've got this beautiful structure, this goal, this structure, and this best use. So you can take a screenshot of it. I'm not sure if you can share it, but you can take a screenshot and use it when you frame these kind of questions. Okay, so this is the strategy that we have now. We are almost like 30 minutes into it. So let's actually learn now. So, closed question, obtain a simple yes or no. The goal is to obtain whether it's a yes answer or a no answer. Structure, limit the set of response. I will frame a question in which either you can answer yes or no. Best use, quick check, confirmation. Hey, are you coming today to the park? Yes, no. Do we agree on this topic? Yes, no. Now, we're going to take 10 seconds and frame a good closed question. Let's do it together. Let's take 10 seconds and frame a good closed question. How to ask questions to reach the heart of students, of course. Abigail, yes. Let's frame. I want you to frame a good question, a closed question, and put it in the chat box. Where are you going? Is it an open ended question or a close end? Close end question will have just yes or no. Absolutely engaged. Thank you so much. Are you fine? Lovely. Yes or no? Will you be sharing the feedback link now? Oh, it's also a close ended question, but I don't think it's now. Is this your book? Is the weather hot? Have you, taken tea in the evening? Oh, it's just going so fast. Does ice freezes at 0 degrees? Is the story a positive end? Lovely. What are your plans for the day? Would be an open-ended question, Komalji. We need question which is either yes or no. Am I audible? Yes, Ushaji. Great. Are you happy? Oh, it makes me think. Have you done your homework? Where are you from? I'm from Pune. Do you like my teaching? Yes. Great, great. Fabulous, fabulous. So we've got close-ended questions. Next, we move to open-ended questions. Open-ended question, the goal is to encourage detailed answer and a follow-up discussion. Okay? So if it's are you fine, can be yes, I'm fine, no, I'm fine, not fine, and then you can have more follow-up questions. Is this webinar informative? Lovely, Pranav ji, lovely. So the structure for open-ended question would be broad questions. It helps in brainstorming. So you look at the picture, I call it question storming. It has expansive responses, and the best use is when you have to gather feedback from someone. If you're teaching and facilitating and you want to gather feedback, you've given some brainstorming work and there are different ideas being put together, different perspectives and viewpoint, that's when we have to ask open-ended question. Great, great. So now can we have like, okay, I'm going to give you an example. Why, what does the sky mean to you? So when you look at sky, what does it mean to you? For me, it means freedom. So what makes you think? So what I want you to do is take 10 seconds and put a good open-ended question. What is your opinion on this book? Lovely. Explain the structure. Explain the structure. Okay. Okay. So explain the structure would be a factual question, Aisha ji, because you are this. There's no opinion. It is what it is. I cannot have an opinion about. Oh, I wish it could be like this. Yes. So now I want you to write a good open-ended question. Sky is infinity. Sky has endless possibilities. How informative is this webinar? Yeah. How was the day? What do you think about yourself? How's in your school? Ideas behind the poem explained. Oh, amazing, amazing, guys. Lovely. Great. Let's move on. Convergent questions. So the game is leveling up now because we as human beings are hardwired to ask open ended questions and closed questions. Now let's try to do convergent questions. It has one correct answer or one best solution. It's not a yes no question. The structure is narrow the responses to a single answer. Now the key point is sometimes you can have list of 2 3 questions which is actually called as the funneling technique or leading questions. So there are 2 types of questions that comes under the bracket of convergent question, leading questions and funneling questions. What do you love about Santa mobile app? Okay. So you use these 2 type of questions to make a good convergent question. And the best uses knowledge test, skill assessment, right? Precise problem solving. So like 2 plus 2 in real life, what is 2 plus 2 is convergent. Now think about it. What convergent question do you think can be right in the context that you were writing? 2 plus 2 is what? Pencil is made up of what? What's the color of water? So let's write all the possible subsets of 1, 2, 3. Lovely. How do you test for oxygen? LCM of exactly. These are convergent questions. Now see, it comes in how. It's coming in what? It's coming in right. We thought how is a higher order question, but no, it's coming in a lower order. Tell me positive and negative parts. Which is also coming here. Lovely. Which process is called food making process? What is the capital of France? Great. So your MCQs, the assessing your knowledge comes in convergent questions. Hey, is this webinar going good? Isn't it? A convergent question. Because I am leading you to say either yes or no. Great, great. We're going to move to divergent questions. Divergent questions encourage many answers. The goal is to create multiple creative ideas. It's one of the most beautiful way of asking questions. Structure open-ended. It's open-ended question to allow diverse perspective. So what are your thoughts on let's say real application of 2 plus 2 in life where you actually apply 2 plus 2? Best use innovation, brainstorming, exploring possibilities. Hey, this idea can work. This can be the solution of the problem. That is where we use divergent thinking questions. All right, I'm taking a pause. Are you all with me? Exactly. All right, let's try to make a divergent. Right. Okay, I'm getting some amazing, lovely. Divergent questions also help in creativity. So like, um, let's say, surprise me by not using plastic in making of a swimming pool. That's a question actually that's a problem I'm trying to solve in our school. How do we create an indoor swimming pool without using plastic and have a good expansive swimming pool? So that's a divergent question. How do you think India is a democracy? Okay, describe a picture. All right. I'm going to take 10 seconds more. I want some lovely divergent questions. What could happen if people could fly like birds? Lovely. Oh, Mahi. Great. Lovely, lovely. So we're done with open ended, close ended, convergent, and divergent questions. Can we survive without honeybees? What would happen if there is no gravity? Lovely, guys. That means you have got it. You've got convergent, divergent, open, and close. Great, great. So now energy up, game on, because we're going to go deeper now. Analytical questions. Why? Why? What's behind this? Why did Harry Potter? I can't now remember an incident, but why Harry Potter did what he did? Why did the sales decline? Why do people think homeschooling is a better option? So you're analyzing something and then giving up on statement. So there's cause and then there's reason. Something has happened, we are finding out a reason for it. We use this a lot in science, right? Why cockroach blood is white? Icky, but yes. Not showing an app. Okay, I'm not sure what is that. How would the world be if you were a teacher? Oh, Esther, lovely question. Analytical question, guys. Come on. Is zero a rational number? Is it a yes no answer, Ashaji, or you think it's analytical? You can say, explain how zero is a rational number. So, is rational number would be a yes and no, and how it is can come in analytical. So, examine why or why not it is. Why sky is blue? Or do you think sky is blue? Why do you think sky is blue? Why what is important for us? Why can't caterpillars fly? Well, there would be a straight answer to it because they don't have wings. But yes, they can be reasoning. So in a lower order, like lower level questioning, we can say, thus they do not have wings, thus they cannot fly. So good going. We've got hypothetical questioning technique. What if we offered subscription? So some scenario we're thinking and then we're thinking of a question. We're thinking of what if there were so many trees that there was no global warming? How would the world be? So that's a hypothetical question. Come on, guys. Let's have an hypothetical question here. Okay, what would you do if you suddenly become invisible? Rohiniji, what kind of question would that be? What if dogs could speak? Uh huh. Lovely. What if lions could fly? Then lions and dogs would be good friends. Great. Excellent. Let's go to reflective and factual questions. Reflect on the experiences or recall the details. What was a challenge? So once the experience is done, then you reflect on that experience. You recall what all things have happened. You reflect upon it. and then thinks, okay, what were my goals, what were my no goals, what were my boomers and what were my bloomers, like what went well, what did not go well. So you think about the facts, you go whiteboarding, you understand yes and no's, and then you reflect upon it. These are reflective, factual questions. Somebody was asking about it in the morning, like, sorry, not in the morning, in the beginning of the session. So, zooming through, we've got three major takeaways. Select appropriately. Why you're asking what you're asking? What is the goal of your asking question? What is your intent? What is your purpose? Then choose the kind of question that you want to ask. Guide your question in that way. Use questions to steer. Like, okay, my kid is really closed. Let me, if there's a close-ended question, like, are you happy? And the child is just not answering. Step back. Do not ask a closed question. Oh, what did you do yesterday? All right. Did that make you happy? Did that make you unhappy? How did you feel about it? So you want to know whether the child is happy or unhappy, and he's not answering, then you choose another type of question. You ask about how was the day, how it made him feel, and then guide the conversation. Practice variety. And of course, this happens only and only when we practice again and again. We have to consciously think about it. So, what I did, like, I'm going to give you my example, consciously try to put at least two to three higher order questions in my conversations with kids. Of course, we do it when we do make a question paper, but when we're having a conversation, not only in the classroom but with our friends and families, you will understand and realize how deeper connection we make with everybody around us. And not only that, how deeper questions help us to understand ourselves. Why am I feeling what I'm feeling right now? If I'm happy and you say, yes, I'm happy, what is it that's making you happy right now? Is it the webinar that's making you happy? Is it that you're happy about yourself that you're attending the webinar and you're proud of yourself that you've taken 1 hour for yourself to upgrade, upskill? So, actually asking deeper questions to yourself, your friends, family, your children, your students, it creates deeper conversations, deeper learning, and of course, higher order relationships. All right. So we actually have a lot of other things coming up. I had a lot of other topics to talk about, but I think we have a masterclass also following up, so I would stop here. We have Think Pair Share. I'm just going to give you a snippet of how and what kind of techniques we use in asking questions. We've got Think Pair Share, we've got the Socratic method, we've got question storming. How do you elevate classroom engagement and understanding good questions? So just I'm giving you a sneak peek into it. Think, pair, share. Think, pair, share is not only just thinking about it, telling your answers to your peers, and then just sharing about it. It's not that. What kind of questions can you actually give to your children to ask and think and bear? So it's not only about what do you think about presence of oxygen in water. Think, pair, share. It's a what question? It's a very factual question. What kind of questions you actually give to your students during a think pair share? That is what is important for us to know. Then we have got the Socratic method. It's about probing. The teacher, the facilitator, the educator is going to probe the question without giving the right answer. If you have asked a question to a child and the child is not able to answer, my urge is, my, I'm like, beg you, please do not move to another child until unless you have probed that child properly. It might be that you just have to lower down your questions a level or two, and the child will be able to come and give you an answer. And it actually boosts the confidence of that child, and rather than somebody else answering and then the child thinking that I just can't answer. Critical thinking. Okay, so there's a way in which Socratic method happens. So there's an example. If justice is fairness, what happens when fairness conflicts with mercy? It's a very beautiful statement, and I'm going to leave you with it. If justice, being just always, means being fair, what happens when fairness, being fair, means being merciful, being not giving back what it needs to be given back? It's very beautiful. And then we've got unleashing creativity, question storming. Generate as many as questions possible. So you can have a picture and you can just brainstorm whatever questions are coming in your mind. It can be of any type. And then have a question storm about it. What kind of answers you're getting while you answer that volume of question. Don't think whether my question is right or wrong when you're doing this kind of activity. And we are going to definitely tell you when to use this kind of activity. This is a very, very good technique to use when you want to introduce a new topic in the classroom. It is a very, very good technique to use when you are doing science in your classroom. So, question storming. And I'm going to take you just 30 seconds to tell about avoiding pits. Okay? Guess what's in my head? I mean, when you ask questions and we have this sense, okay, this person already knows what's in my mind, and I ask a question, that would be very vague. So, as I said in the earlier session, that please don't be vague, be very clear, give all the information that you think is required for that person to answer your question. Yes, no kills discussions, machine gun approach, too many questions at a time when you're conversing kills the conversation. It just feels the person feels burdened. Stump the chump, humiliating students unintentionally. So you ask too many questions. Did you do that? How did you do that? Blah 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 blah. You're not humiliating. I mean, you don't intend to do it, but sometimes we just do it. And the Grand Canyon pause. Someone is just asking you silent, tick tock silent. So these are the things that we actually have to avoid, and we're going to talk about it in depth. But we're going to now pause for questions. So, team, if we have any questions, I would love to answer now.
So the floor is open for questions. If you have any questions, you should grab this opportunity. But I would like, while the questions come in, I'd like to read some of the comments that has come through. So
Sure.
Randhir Kumar sir says, in the beginning, it happened somewhere when you were discussing about how the two-way conversations are important. And he says two-way conversation is more important during asking questions.
Yeah.
Um, then Madhumita Guha ma'am says, a class with more and more intense interaction benefits the learners a lot.
Oh, lovely.
Supportive. And Meena ma'am says, convergent questions are good for reinforcement sessions. So she totally agrees with you.
Great.
Right. So
Um,
yes, please get the questions while we are here. While the questions come in, I just want to ask. I think I'm going to sum up a lot of questions over here and ask you for different grades when you are talking about open-ended or close-ended questions, right? For different grades, the what suggestions would you give to teachers on framing the right questions at different levels? Yeah.
so, Rastogi, the fun part is when we ask good questions, doesn't matter what type of question it is. Good questions, good quality questions to even a 3-year old that kid will know, hey, you know what? I can think of also asking these kind of questions. The
Right.
intention is not only to get an answer, but also to make the child think about how to ask questions. Because you would agree with me, and this is statistically proven, the amount of questions, number of questions a kid asks is inversely proportional to the age.
Right.
So the more we grow, we stop asking questions. So the younger ones actually have very good questions. They are curious about everything and
Right.
anything in the world. It's just that we do not sometimes have the energy to tend to all those questions. But just imagine if we think and we push them that they ask a what question and then we answer it and then we answer it with another like deeper question. So for example, they say, "Oh, here the water. What is the color? Why is the water here in the aquarium transparent, but in the river it is blue?" And then
Right.
you just answer that question and says, "Hey, where else do you find the water to be transparent?" So you know what? When you have a follow up something like this, the child thinks deeper, and that's what we want.
Curious minds. Yes, that's excellent. I think you almost answered that question, but I would like to put it out there.
Yeah.
Nandini ma'am asked, how can we make a child to answer for the question, especially in KG kids?
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Now again, what is your intention of asking a question? Is it just to understand whether the kid has understood the concept, or is it because you want to understand how much the child has understood, like which level?
Okay.
So, what is your intention actually matters a lot. How you make it totally depends. So, that's why we have got this entire framework of different types of questions. How do you frame the question? What not to do, what to do, and then only we'll be able to, get into it.
Oh, right. Makes sense. There is this one question, like it's very intriguing. For grade four, A.T. Verma ma'am asked, how will, for grade four students, how will they understand what are good questions? Isn't it often wasting time or not moving ahead in the session? Like, is it important for students to understand that, it is a good question or not? What is your take on this?
Okay. Ma'am, this is a lovely question, but I have a question for this question. Do we have to tell them whether the question is good or not? Do we even need to do it? Many a times it is just that we do it and it becomes a habit of ours. The more we ask good questions, it just becomes you and then it becomes them. We're not going to tell them, like, hey, you asked a good question. Hey, you did not ask a good question. We're not doing it. When we practice as educators, it becomes a habit for us to ask good questions, and thus, as a replica, children also start doing it.
Right.
I hope this
Oh,
answers
Deepali,
it. Yeah.
that's an excellent way of portraying out there. But Deepali, I would like you to check out the chat box where there are a lot of comments on the on the session. People have given like insights from their own personal experience as well. While I talk about your masterclass here, so Deepali will be hosting a masterclass here on 23rd May. I think you can see down there all the registration link is also given over there. Please check out center website. It will be an extension of this session. We will cover most of the strategies. We'll do hands-on activities to frame such questions. And since it's a closed classroom, yes, there'll be a lot of interactions. You can unmute your mic and then ask those questions and get it answered right over there. So please check them out and hope to see you all in our masterclass. So, Deepali, thank you so much for joining the session today. Such an insightful session. It's always a delight to have you here.
Thank you. Thanks, Santa. Thank you, guys. You have been amazing in the chat box.
Yeah,
Thanks.
it was
Thanks
quite
for
an exciting, it's engaging sessions over there, you can see. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Take care.
Bye bye. So, yes, all right. We have concluded the session and thank you all for joining in. But before you go, I would just like to give you a few details. Most of you are aware of it, but then I would just like to give you a few more details. Right now, below the banner, the masterclass banner will change into the feedback code banner, as you can see in a while. How to download the record of participation or how to get the feedback form, as most of you are asking in the comment over there. For that, you need to register uh, for the webinar through Center app. If you do not have Center app, please download the Center app from the App Store, uh, you know, and go to the App Store, get the Center app, register for the webinar, which is right in there. And for the ongoing webinar session, the registered, you can see that it will, once you registered, it will change to join when the session starts. And then after the session finishes, that is at sharp 6 p.m. IST, the button, registered button will change to submit feedback button. And you can click on the submit feedback button and post that. You can fill up the details. Yes. So yes. All right. So you can fill up the details with your name, email ID, very, very important, with your phone number, as well as the webinar code, the a 4-digit code 4163, which is on your screen. You please fill that up and give us the review of what you think about these sessions in the feedback space. Once you submit it, you can download the certificate then and there. It's as easy as this. You do not have to wait 24 hours to get your record of participation. The webinar code is again 4163. Please register, join, participate in the engagement, question and answer, and polls during the session, and get your record of participation. And please do tell us how you feel about this session and the facilitator's presentation as well. Thank you so much. And hopefully, we'll see you again next Thursday. Bye bye. Take care.